so real, more than I have felt before. And the love is gone, I will try to keep you satisfied. Don't wanna be second with you, that feels like the first time. Why do I always push away the things that I wanna say? I can't stop when you're with me, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving, I can't stop, you're playing with me, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving, I can't stop when you're with me, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving, I can't stop, you're playing with me, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving, I can't stop your loving, I can't stop your loving, I can't stop your loving, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving. History keeps ourselves from moving on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't wanna be lost place. Never reach the finish line. Never reach the finish line. Why do I always push away the things that I wanna say? And do you believe me when I say I don't deserve you? I don't deserve you. I can't stop when you're with me, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving, I can't stop playing with me, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving, I can't stop when you're with me, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving, I can't stop playing with me, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving. Can't stop when you're with me, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving, can't stop, you're playing with me, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving, can't stop when you're with me, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving, can't stop, you're playing with me, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving, can't stop your loving, can't stop your loving, can't stop your loving, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving, can't stop your loving, can't stop your loving, can't stop your loving, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving, can't stop your loving, I can't stop your loving, I can't stop your loving, I just can't stop. Oh, you're loving.
Welcome.
Small boy once asked, when will I grow up? When will I see what grown-ups do see? It is fine to come of age. He would have to know the age to be recognized as one and not a mass. And Mama used to say, take your time, young man.
Look out, I'm getting better at DJ. We got Tycho interviewing him, talking about our life on tour and his new music.
I'm full of fire. I've got a love that's gonna take you higher. I wanna take you to my paradise and make love till the morning light. You and me got a love going strong. You're coming on. In my arms is where you ought to be. Fill you up with my ecstasy. All night, it's all night, baby. If it feels good, then you should. All night, it's all night, baby. Feels good, you should. You know I really wanna see you tonight. Wrap you up in my love and fly. Take you places you've never been. Baby, tell me where and when. You and me got a love going strong. You're coming on. In my arms is where you ought to be. Fill you up with my ecstasy. All night, it's all right.
all the while. I just wanna hear you say that you love me in every way. 'Cause all I need, baby, all I need is you. Yes, I want you, baby. What you gonna do?
Your love's intoxicating. Why'd I have to taste it? 'Cause it's much too good to waste it. So baby, let me love you. I'll place no one above me. 'Cause I'm hooked, baby, on your love. Just because I just had to rest my whistle when I kissed your lips, girl. I couldn't get it. I had to wet my whistle. Just a little bit, baby, was much too much. Wet my whistle. First I was only playing. Now look where love is laying. So softly on my pillow. Ooh, girl, I'll never ever let you go. No, no, no. Love was never on my mind. I thought I'd better take my time. But girl, you got me crazy. You're such a real fine lady. You're so fine. And I'm hooked, baby, on your love. Yes, I'm hooked, baby. I just can't get enough. Yeah, I'm hooked, baby, on your love. Just because I just had to wet my whistle when I kissed your lips, girl. I couldn't get it. I had to wet my whistle. Just a little bit, baby, was much too much. I had to wet my whistle when I kissed your lips, girl. I couldn't get enough. I had to wet my whistle. Just a little bit, baby, was much too much. Wet my whistle. Yeah, yeah.
live more day life. Got a master groove on my right. Look out for that dynamite. Say dynamite. Dynamite. Are you having fun? Living on the one, dancing to the beat. I don't have no time to wait in line. Let's take it to the street. Let me hear you say ho. Say ho. It's all in you, whatever you do. Listen to what I say. Be the best, just be the best. Come on, it's the only way. Let me hear you say
Smoking mountains, nothing new. Lead me to the mountain tower, and we'll work until it's time to stop. Oh baby, you're mine, you're mine, you're walking on sunshine. And I got to tell you that you're doing fine, walking on sunshine. Oh, I got to tell you that you're doing fine, walking on sunshine. Yeah. Oh baby. Oh baby. Yeah. Oh baby. Oh darling. Oh, living isn't everything, but you know the feeling love can bring. I said that when you're floating through your cloud, oh, baby, don't you shout too loud, oh darling. I said, girl, you're mine, oh, walking on sunshine. And I got to tell you that you're doing fine, walking on sunshine. Oh, I got to tell you that you're doing fine, walking on sunshine. Oh darling. You're mine, you're walking on sunshine. And I got to tell you that you're doing fine, walking on sunshine. Oh, I got to tell you that you're doing fine, walking on sunshine. That's right, get there. Everybody.
the apple of my eye. You're a dream come true. Gonna give you all my love. Cause nobody in the whole world makes me feel the way you do. I love you so now, and I wanna keep your love. Won't let you go now. You mean the world to me, yeah. Trust in me, baby. I'll never let you down. I'll do my best for you, baby. You got the love I need. Long as you say that you need me, my love is guaranteed. I'll do my best. I'll do my best for you, baby. Show you a love so true. Long as you say you'll never leave me, I'll do my best for you. Yes, I will. Boy, your love is such a treasure, and you really give me pleasure when you hold me tight. I pledge all my heart, love forever. You respect me as a lady, and you always treat me right. I'll never hurt you. I don't wanna lose your love. Never desert you. I'll be a fool to leave you. Trust in my loving. I'll never ever let you down. I'll do my best. I'll do my best for you, baby. You got the love. You got the love I need. Long as you say. Long as you say that you need me, my love is guaranteed. I'll do my best. I'll do my best for you, baby. I'll show you love. Show you a love so true. Yeah, yeah. Long as you say you'll never leave me, I'll do my best. I'll do my best for you.
It's a Saturday night, and I wanna go disco dancing. Saturday night, butterflies in my shoes. Let the DJ play all our favorite tunes. Let the dance floor be ours alone. I wanna go disco dancing. I wanna go disco dancing. Disco dancing. Disco dancing. Disco dancing. Disco dancing.
Sick breakdown alert right here. Thanks for watching me, DJ. Excited to hang out with Tycho in a little bit. This one is Rice and Beans is the artist. Disco Dancing is the track. TK Disco is the label. That was Jago. I'm Gonna Go. Full-Time Records. I don't know much about that record, but I think it's an Italo record. It's pretty tight. This is a Poolside Pacific Standard Time live stream. All vinyl, disco, and rarities that I don't get to DJ when I play at clubs. Okay, 12 more minutes of disco, then gonna jump in there with Scott.
Take me to your place of space. I'm sick and tired of the rat race. On a rocket ship, no time to wait. I just want to gravitate. It's out of sight. It's out of sight. It's out of sight. Out of sight. It's gone. It's gone. Out of sight. It's out of
Alright, we're gonna keep it going a few more minutes. This is a track by Montana called Heavy Vibes. If you've been tuning in, you'll know Montana's one of my faves. He plays those fucking vibes so well. The return of the sexy DJ voice coming at you.
woman I want to
That was a hard one. These drummers, they don't like to stay on. Okay, we're going to do one more quick song, and then Scott and I are going to jump on and talk about some cool stories. This is a song, Great Pride. I really dig this one. This is a great ending song because it's fucking epic. So hopefully everyone watching, you like rare disco or weird disco, because that's what we've been doing. And now we're going to jump in after this. Check this one out, though. It's a deep cut.
The sunset, touch your glowing eyes, 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 eyes. And as it did so, reflect into the sky, 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 sky.
All right.
Pacific Daylight Time will be. At the tone, Pacific Daylight Time will be.
Pacific Standard Time.
Hi. Looks like I'm on. Am I on? I
think you're on, man.
Oh, hey, what's up?
And now I'm on too. I had like 30 seconds to switch over from where I was.
Crazy. How'd you get over there so fast?
Well, it's the same studio. That's helpful. How are you, Scott? Let me click so I can see you. Oh, okay.
I'm doing very good. That was an awesome show, man. I love the transition. That was the Pacific Standard Time, the popcorn. Was that the popcorn lady?
Yeah, it was. That was a lot of disco and a lot of fun. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Just hanging out in Oakland, California.
I was going to say, that looks like a new studio. Is that the case?
Very new, brand new. In fact, I just got here like a week and a half ago. I think I just moved.
Oh shit! I didn't. Wow, that's awesome, man. I've been setting up my very first like more sincere studio, and it took so much more work and money than I ever would have suspected. Like, man, I have a lot more respect for my studio friends because it's legit.
Where you're in LA, right?
Yeah, I'm in LA. In like kind of mid city LA, and just I was in San Francisco for a long time, off and on. But yeah, I've been in LA the last few years.
Yeah,
so.
you go way back in SF, right? You had the what was that party called?
Probably Blow Up is the one that you maybe are talking about. Yeah, that was kind of my calling card in San Francisco for, I don't know, 5-6 years, maybe actually probably like 8 now that I think of it.
Where was it?
Several places. It started at the rickshaw stop.
Oh, nice.
Which was like that's like its main home. Then it moved to Kelly's Mission Rock, if you remember that place.
I don't think
kind of a random spot.
But it was like early 2000s because I got there in 2006.
It started in 2005 and went till 2011. So however long that is. But yeah, then it was at DNA Lounge. Kelly's Mission Rock was like a club out on the bay. It's now a restaurant, but kind of by what is that place called? The Ramp. You know that like, I don't know. These are some weird spots, but yeah. Anyways,
like a square block radius from my house. The 15 years that I lived. Like I always like, oh, I'm gonna check that out. 15 years later, I move and I'm like, I didn't check anything out. I never went anywhere.
You're too big.
In a lounge. That was not when I lived there, but that was the first show I ever played in San Francisco. I drove from Sacramento with Dusty Brown and Chachi Jones and the Fruit Bat. We had this little collective, and we played a show at DNA Lounge for each other. 0 people showed up. And so we would stand in the audience with like our arms crossed essentially, and play a set with us as the audience. It was great.
Standing ovations for both of you guys, imagine. So you moved to San Francisco in 2006, you just said.
Yeah, February 2006 from Sacramento. I grew up. I moved to San Francisco in '95. I went to school there and went to college in the late '90s, but then I moved back to Sacramento. So I wasn't really officially living there, just going to school.
Yeah, I went to college in the late '90s in San Francisco as well. Lived in the dorms at SF State, and
I was in the dorms at USF. You know where USF? Tiny school over there. Yeah.
No, I remember going to hardcore shows out at USF was putting some on.
So my buddy Ralph Caseglio, he had this awesome hardcore band called Ride Coalition.
Of course, yeah, I could pull out one of the records.
Dude, he was in the dorm next to me.
No way.
Yeah, and like I didn't make music. I'd never touched a musical instrument, and that was one of the real like first like underground shows I ever went to. Was he played somewhere down on Market, and I was just like, what the hell is this? But yeah, man, he's like the nicest guy ever. He's a psychiatrist now, but that's what he was studying at the time, I believe. But yeah, interesting dude.
Wow, yeah, that scene was like where I'm from. San Diego is where I grew up. There's hardcore is really big there. Yeah, so that's kind of that was my roots. I didn't really want to play. I wasn't like a kid who played music really growing up, but I got into it as a teenager. And once I saw hardcore and like the aggro energy, which is ironic because now I'm like so mellow, but yeah, that was, and something total side note, but just part of my head of shows. We played together. Poolside opened for you at one of the last shows of probably 2020.
Yeah, it's crazy how that all like was happening. Everything was just like falling apart when we were out there. That was some fun times, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't need to jump all over the place, but I was just thinking like I was like, shit. We played that was at Printworks in London, like really big show. You guys were on, like it was a great way to end the tour.
It was, and that was like super touch and go. I remember because we were driving into Italy, and we had to turn around because we were going to Milan, I think, and that was where the album was happening. And then they're like, you can't come in, and so we had to turn around. And we're like, this might be the end of the tour. We went to Barcelona, kind of were in like a holding pattern for like a week. Played the Barcelona show, and I remember we got to London, and we had Brian and I had lunch with the promoter, and this is like at noon. And nobody even knew that day if it was still going to go down. Or no, sorry, that was dinner the night before, right? And they still didn't know. And then by noon, I think it was still questionable. So like the fact that show went down was like crazy.
Yeah, I mean that was like 2,000, 3,000 people are gathered.
And the whole tour hinged upon the whole tour working on any level hinged upon that show going down. So that was like a very, very lucky moment.
Yeah, I feel really grateful. Actually, in general, I feel Tycho has been super kind to Poolside. So here's a public acknowledgement. Thank you for bringing us along and helping us out along the way. It's been awesome, like sharing crew, sharing a bus, sharing meals. But yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, man. Likewise. I mean, you guys elevate the show to this other. I mean, I feel like all those shows, the feedback that I got and just the vibe that I got, being able to see you guys play before and walking around in the audience is just like, this is it. Like, this is like a perfect connection. And like I think there's this cool overlap in our fan bases. And yeah, those shows were always my favorite whenever you guys are around. So thank you for showing up, and so many bongos. They were the best of all time.
Yeah,
Brigine's amazing.
Shout out to Brigine. I'm sure she'll watch this, or she's maybe here, but
her new album, amazing, man.
Yeah, her new solo stuff, she's crushing. She's crushing.
Yeah. Wait, does she have a whole album? I have 2 songs right now in my kind of rotation. Is there a full album around those, or are those just the first 2 singles?
No, I think there's a whole album already out, and then she's working on another.
Okay. Cool.
I could be tripping. I've heard it though. I'm pretty positive.
Moody. Have you heard that song, Moody?
Yeah, Moody.
Oh, my God. And Daydream and Moody.
Yeah.
So everybody check out Brigine.
She's the percussionist in Poolside and a few other acts, and much loved.
She has a beautiful mural at 16th and Guerrero in San Francisco.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, you just said.
I used to always pass it, and I was like, that's cool. And then we were sharing an Uber home from the airport after the European tour. And she was just explaining like, oh yeah, I do murals. And she's like, oh, I have this one. And she explained where it was. And I was like, what? That's yours? And then I went and said Brigine on it. I was like, wow.
Yeah, a woman of many talents. Funny enough, I met her over the phone. She was recommended to join the band. And I didn't even like meet her in person. We met at the airport to go to Mexico and spend
really?
4 days together.
So I don't know if she was like insane or something.
I know. I was just like, look, I'm not a crazy guy, but do you want to go to Mexico? And
I guess you were insane. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I was crazy, just not so crazy.
You got a cool band, man. They're all really cool, incredibly talented. Like that's, like I feel like, I mean, Rory is like a machine, but I don't know. Zach and I are pretty self-taught. Billy and Rory are great. But like seeing you guys is just like, okay, that's real bands. That's real.
Don't throw me into that. I picked the people who I knew were crushing because I'm pretty novice myself as a player, but I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying to keep up with everybody.
Yeah. I just hide between the notes. I find my little moments and be like, yeah, no, Rory's really tight. It's perfect.
No, Rory is like, he's so aggressive, and so it doesn't feel like it would work, but it like so works. Like if you described it to me like Tycho, the music I know as Tycho, and then there's just this like hard hitting drummer, I would just be like, no, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like kind of like that krautrock vibe, but super intricate, super technical. I feel like he never misses like a beat or millisecond or anything. He's just like on.
And he also has that style that slips, like he slips and moves in these moments. And so it's like he can always, like you're always like, I'm always like, that was intentional. Basically, if he's things off, he actually is like slipping and he'll pull it right back. Right when you think it's going off the rails, it's like it comes right back and you're like, whoa, that was crazy.
Wow. Yeah, I don't play with him, but yeah, just watching him is like, it's impressive to watch him do what he does.
Yeah, totally. He's the greatest.
How did you guys find Rory actually?
I
went East Coast.
Yeah. I went to a Com Truise show, and he was at, where was that, at 1015 Folsom, I think, and Rory was drumming for Com Truise, and I was just like, this is crazy. Like it was the first time, Caribou. I feel like, I had seen, it was Manitoba at the time, but I had seen him kind of connect live drumming to electronic music, but he already kind of had this live drumming vibe, and then he had like a full band. But Com Truise did it in this really interesting way where you still had this pure electronic sound in the music, but then Rory drumming with it, and I thought that connected in a really interesting way. It was super inspiring.
Yeah, I agree. We toured with Com Truise as well, Poolside early on, and I think actually Rory would split and go tour with you occasionally on the Com Trues tour.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, and the shows were markedly different without Rory.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, he just adds so much energy. It's like hard to be without him once you're used to it.
Yeah, definitely.
So how was setting up your studio in Oakland? Was that an ordeal, or is it just for novices like me?
I'm nowhere near it. I mean, you can hear how echoey it is in here still.
Right.
Just how live it is. The front wall is done, but all the ceiling and the walls will be treated. So that stuff is going to be a whole other thing. But working on this other project right now, so the studio is kind of in a holding pattern. I'm working on the New Year's set live show, so kind of splitting my time between those two things.
You want to tell everyone where's the live show, or where's the set?
Streaming across the internet. It's worldwide.
Yeah, global.
Yeah, I'm going to be up in the woods in Northern California, and it's going to be New Year's Day at 7 a.m. and it's like a kind of like a hybrid solo live set that I've been working on. That kind of splits the difference between a DJ set and a live set, or just more like a laptop set like I used to do when I was just playing solo. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing that. I'm stoked. All the streaming, like I feel like this last year has been this like training, like trial by fire of like figuring out how to make something compelling within the streaming domain. And yeah, so I'm trying to bring all the lessons to bear with this one.
Yeah, I remember we were emailing each other, and we were both talking about our Twitch shows, our live streams, and
Yeah.
we're like, who would have thought we were going to be talking about this?
Yeah, seriously. It's been fun because like I was saying on the last stream, there's like this butterflies or whatever, this anxious, nervous energy that I get with shows, playing live, right before when you realize you have like 30 minutes and you still haven't taken a shower or whatever backstage.
Exactly.
You start freaking out like, wait, I have to go out there. I have to be ready in like 15 minutes. I get the same thing with this, that it's kind of like a rush. And I feel like it would be one thing if it was 5 days a week or 6 days, it'd be overwhelming. But one day a week, it's actually kind of welcome that energy in. And it kind of locks your weekend and gives you this moment where like it resets everything and you have this sense of time instead of, I can kind of drift off and lose track of months when I'm working on an album or something. So it's good to wait.
I agree. It feels like it's a Friday night when I'm doing my thing now. And
yeah, exactly.
I usually have a few glasses of wine, and I'm just like, I've been pretty into it, to be honest. It's a lot more like everything I've bit off in the last couple months. It's like so much more work and so much more complicated than I just think it's easy. I think maybe that's a part of my life. I think everything's easy, and then I'm like, oh shit, that's gonna be so hard. But
yeah, every week it's like exact same thing, just like you're saying. It's like because I got to tear it down to use the studio in a normal way, or not tear it down, but a little bit of a tweak.
Right.
I would do something in 5 minutes before I'm like, oh, nothing's working. So yeah, it's always like a fire drill, but it is fun and it's good, like to reconnect with friends and just humans, like just to have. Like, I mean, I know this is, obviously not sitting in the same room, but it's as close as we get right now. I'm not on like Zoom calls that much or anything like that for work. So,
yeah,
so
same.
It's nice. And it's my wine, like you said, it's my wine night. So that's one night a week I can cut loose and drink. So that's fun.
Yeah, I saw the one you did with, what's his name from Thievery Corporation. That one, I was like, you're a pro. I was so impressed. I was.
That's early days, man. Thank you.
You guys both seemed really like you had practiced that shit.
He's a pro. I mean, that's just Rob. He's a legend and a pro. He's just like, he's always on, man. Like in person, on stream, on stage. It's crazy. He's a different type of animal.
Right. So today is a big day for you. Yes, you have a release. Is that right? You want to talk about your release?
We have a release. It is it's the remixes album for Weather. So we just felt like there were so many cool remixes for this one that we packed it all up into an album, and it is out today, and it includes all the remixes that came out on Weather. There it is. Wow.
Boom.
Nice.
Chris crushing behind the scenes.
Com Trues was the last one. His came out on Tuesday, I believe, and that completes the circle of life of remixes. That's out now. I'm stoked. But we did. I did like panels and artwork for all of them, and kind of like.
Oh wow!
Kept it minimal and turned it into this like pattern that's based on all the images put together.
Oh, so those all make one image together?
Yeah, if you go to, I mean, you would have to go to, I guess, like Instagram or something. But yeah,
Right.
they all come together and make this cool thing. But then Michael McAfee, this animator that I work with on a lot of stuff, he did these like visuals, these animations for the visualizers for all the YouTube videos.
Well, yeah, he's been helping us too, I think, through you. Yeah.
Nice. He's great, man.
Yeah, no, it's been, I mean, having the same management has really helped, but I think you guys have paved the way for a lot of learning experiences for Poolside to, you know, kind of cruise into. So yeah, he's been doing the last few things where he'll just, usually it's just kind of making things like wave around a little bit, but he does it in a really artistic way. So
yeah, there's this subtlety and that I love about the way that he works stuff out. He did this crazy animation for the Outer Sunset cover, which is I took a picture of the ocean and then the sky, and it's a composite of two images, and he made like the water move, and it like looked convincing. I don't know how that was it. It's just subtle enough that like it's one of those things that it's not like a full some sort of like feature length narrative type thing, but what he did was, I don't know, it was just really powerful, and so it's really cool with these because everything was so minimal and flat. The images for this project, that it was cool to see him bring those to life.
Yeah, I'm always impressed with your like ability to have essentially two major jobs in Tycho, or at least two major jobs in Tycho.
Yeah, it's good. It's the visual part is fun, but I mean, you guys have like a really cool, like I've always loved your aesthetic and the way that you approach the whole like the visual language of the project. Do you have a background in anything visual, or are you just kind of an arbiter of the visual aspects?
I guess more of an arbiter. I studied like clothing and industrial design. So, and I used to work screen printing, like skateboards and stuff like that. So in some senses, yeah, but I never was a graphic designer, or, I never thought about layout. It was more like constructing like a 3-dimensional kind of thing, but yeah, or a 2-dimensional thing that you wear as a 3-dimensional thing, that's actually kind of complicated.
Yeah, that is
more than one thinks. It's weird because clothing is like home sewing and like your grandma does it, but it's actually pretty complicated to do it. But anyways, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, I appreciate good design. To be honest, to be kind of vulnerable, like I'm really good at seeing like art that you can tell has a purpose, like, oh, that's a record cover, that's a flyer, that's a garment. But when it's just like visual art, like it can be hard for me to be like, what's my reference point? Like, how do I know if this is good or not? Like I dated a visual artist once, and she was like, gave me mad shit. Like she's like, you're so.
I was just gonna say the same. I had the exact same experience, and she was like fine art and like deep meaning, like a pile of sand in a white room. Like I stared at a pile of rocks in a white cubic room in some museum, and I was like, I don't know what to tell you, but this is a pile of rocks. And she explained the meaning. I was like, honestly, she was super cool about it.
Right.
Honestly, what does this mean? Like, you're trained, you have a MFA or whatever. What does this mean to you and your family? And she explained it, and I was like, okay, I can get that. Like, but then does everyone have to go to college to get it? I guess some people just naturally get it, but I don't.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess if it makes you feel something, you feel it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but with your art, I mean, I think a lot of people feel this way. But when I first I was working at a record store in San Francisco for quite a long time. Open Mind Music. I don't know if you remember that.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, I was a record clerk there. So that was like pretty much why I'm good at DJing, I think, is all the best DJs in San Francisco would shop there.
Oh, really?
And I was kind of just a sponge, just being like, what's this? What's that? Why do you like that?
Like when you bring it up to the register, you'd ask them about it?
Yeah, exactly. And
that's awesome.
And then they were, if you have a genuine curiosity, usually people can sense that, and I just got schooled on like every genre. And that was, but anyways, people would bring in your posters, or maybe you would, I don't know, somebody would. And I was always like, those are tight.
I wonder, no, I didn't. I used to do a ton of wheat pasting and like taking posters into like Tower Records and stuff in Sacramento. But I think I did SF just for that DNA Lounge show, but I don't know that I went into Open Mind. I may have.
Right.
I always try
Maybe.
to put every place.
Yeah, we or someone put them up, and they, because usually the posters would look kind of whack. I felt like, just somebody's promotional stuff. So yours had a lot of class and whatever, a lot of design aesthetic. So
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
and that's where you, like, I've heard you talk about this, where your design like mindset is how you kind of overlay that on music. Has that changed as you've gotten more experienced with music, or is that even, am I even wrong? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's tough to decouple those two things. They're coming from the same place because it's me. It's not like I'm setting out to do something very different with one or the other. But it's not always the case that I'm like, this picture is this song, or like, it's usually after the fact. You have a song and you're like, okay, let's create something cool that speaks to some element of this. But at the end of the day, most, at least for me personally, and I'm sure for you and a lot of musicians, it's like the song has such an abstract connection. It's this abstract emotional space for me usually, and it's really hard to recreate that in a visual way that it's going to translate it to other people. I try to use colors and like kind of nostalgic elements to conjure up some of those ideas or themes that I'm trying to build into the music, but it's never quite one-to-one. It's more just like the same person's doing both things. So obviously, things are going to kind of end up in the same general vicinity, right, I guess.
So you never make the art first and then make music to fit the art.
Sometimes that happens. Like sometimes I'll make an image, and it's not so much I write the music to it, but sometimes, when you're working on all these ideas and you just have all these fragments laying around and a million little ideas that don't feel like they've coalesced, I'll make some art, and maybe it's for another project, and then it doesn't get used, or it ends up going fracturing in these different ways, and I follow one down just for the fun of it, and I'll be like, whatever this is, I want to make the album that sounds like it fits in this bucket or whatever, and that's happened before, but you typically have some of the songs then, but it will inform the songs that I choose, because it's like, these songs sound like this looks, and then I'll go that way.
That makes sense. I kind of do that with album titles. Like, once I have the title, then it's a lot more logical what fits and what doesn't.
Yes,
so
definitely. The title helps too.
Same kind of idea.
Yeah, but then I always change it like the week before the album. There's always like a working title. And I have like all those working titles are still the names of the albums, like on my hard drive, because like it'd break all the links and stuff if I changed the actual name. Yeah. And on some stream, on one of my first streams, I wasn't like used to like trying to like maintain privacy. I was like, you're streaming your screen, idiot. Like, you don't show them everything. And everyone's like, there's 5 unknown albums that are coming out this year, whatever. And they're like, we're all modified last week. Because, I have backup software that like changes the modification date sometimes. And anyways, point being, it just like, I was like, oh yeah, well, I guess people think that now. They think there's an album coming out called all these weird things that won't be used.
Yeah, it's kind of funny sometimes at live shows. I've been like, what's the name of that song? Because it's like the working title. And then by the time the song's out, you're like, it's some other, like one of our songs used to be called like Afro Ninja, like just the working random title. And it took me the longest time on what the fuck's Afro Ninja? Like what's the real title for it?
Yeah.
Tropical Heartache is used to be formerly known as. Yeah, I had to come up with a name because the song was done. And then I was just like, fuck. So Afro Ninja was cool, but had a little too much. It's a little too cheeky for even me who likes cheeky.
How do you come up with names? Do you kind of just keep like a running list of inspirational words that you come across?
Both. Like if I hear like a kind of like turn of phrase that I think's cool, I'll like put it in my notes, and like I'll just kind of keep it around as either a lyric or a song title. But often, often it's pretty obvious, what, like it's like the chorus is the title for us because we have lyrics. But if there's not an obvious, because some of our songs aren't really verse chorus, it's just a little refrain.
Yeah.
And if the refrain isn't like a very good title, that's when it gets tricky. You have to come up with like, well, what is this song trying to say? And then how do you say that in a way that's not totally trite? And then how do you say it in a way that's not totally weird? So that sweet spot. And it can take, I've literally spent days, like full days trying to figure out a song title. And
I've spent longer than that sometimes. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, because you're like, this is gonna have to live on. But then the other thing I always remember is like some songs have the stupidest name, but if it's a good song, you just totally overlook it. Some bands have the stupidest name, and if it's
Yeah.
a band like Radiohead, you overlook the fact that they're called Radiohead.
I mean, the fucking Beatles. The Beatles is such a dumb name.
Oh, but it's Beat. See, it's BEAT. Which
I
is
think that's
lame.
worse.
Yeah.
That's almost worse. It's
Oh,
like,
it's so clever. Come on, bud.
but great band. Great band.
But they were like basically a boy band at that, or a proto boy band at that point, right? When they picked that name.
I mean, they were young, obviously, but
I mean, actually, like they were very like, it was pop. It was like a poppy
right.
band act. They didn't get like heady until a couple albums in.
Yeah, true. Just still, case in point, bad band name that you just it just takes on a new meaning when you love the music. You don't even consider the band name.
It actually makes it cool. Sometimes you're like, yeah, that's very cool. That's a very cool name for a band.
Do you have any favorite band names?
Oh man, that's tough. Boards of Canada is really good. That's the best one ever. Aphex Twin, that's a really good one. That's really cool. I've always liked that one because it's like, what does this mean?
Yeah, I never even thought about it. What does Boards of Canada mean?
Boards of Canada was the Film Boards of Canada. Those guys grew up in Canada. And there's this thing called the Film Board of Canada that would do all those like old, like, it was like their PBS almost,
Uh-huh.
They would have like, if you listen to Boards of Canada, there's all this like vocal or like people talking in the background, like documentary type stuff. So they put out stuff, BBC type stuff.
Yeah.
So they just called themselves Boards of Canada, which is actually like the coolest and also maybe not. And then at first I was like, they mean keyboards because they play synths.
Okay.
But it's not what it is, I guess.
The comments are going crazy saying you can't have a Tycho stream without Boards of Canada being mentioned.
I mention it every single time. It's in my contract, actually. I'm required by law.
No, I know. I was supposed to ask that. We talked about that question in advance so that we could bring it up. Well, I have a personal question. I mean, it's not a personal. I have a question I'd like to know. So how many records exactly would you consider yourself having out? Like, I know there's some are kind of small. Like, you have a little, but I think you tell me.
5, 6. Well, 5. Yeah. I mean, Simulcast and Weather I think of as like a singular release, but I mean, and because they share some songs. So maybe. But then Science of Patterns, the first song release was an EP. So maybe if you combine that, but yeah, basically 5. I think of it 5 proper albums.
So that's what I thought. I just didn't want to be like. Sometimes I like would say that shit, and you'd be like, "Well, it's actually 7." Because
yeah. No, I'm sure somebody actually knows better than I do. I'll read stuff on like Reddit or something about Tycho and be like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't remember that." Somebody put out a whole album that I totally forgot existed that was unreleased. I used to give out as a CDR at shows. You're not used to, probably
right. 2
shows in the year 2001, I think, and called Hope. And it just showed up on YouTube, and somebody emailed it to me. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, oh, somebody was literally, I think my brother was like, is this you? And I was like, oh no, it's just somebody messing around on it. There was another guy who called himself Tycho around in the late 90s. And then I started listening. I was like, but this really sounds like something I would make. And then it all came flooding. And I was like, holy shit. And like, I just actually, and I'm like, oh, that's lost forever. I don't know where it is. And I just found the master, the CDR that it was on when I was moving in the back of a closet, like it had fallen behind a dresser.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so we'll see if it works. I haven't tried it because CDRs degrade over time. So 20 years, it might not be all there, but we'll see.
So we're gonna put out the Lost Hope record,
the Lost Discs.
Wow, the Lost CDRs.
Yeah.
But so back to my question.
Oh yeah, what was the question?
No, I didn't ask it yet. But does it get harder to figure out what you want to say as you've said more and more? Like you've said a lot musically in 5 albums. Does it get harder, or is it just you always have an infinite stream of things to say and you just kind of fill that in?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think about it often. I think, my work is a combination of like craft and like the inspiration and the ideas, like I think for me, a lot of it and a lot of people, it's about the pursuit of excellence or like technical achievement, So that's always a big part of it. Like, even if there was nothing there for me emotionally, I think I would still be passionate enough about just being an engineer or a producer or whatever to be pursuing it. So that's always there for me, and that creates inspiration. And I forgot the quote who said this, but they basically said like, work begets inspiration. Actually, it's Paul McCartney. Work begets inspiration. So kind of like you have to start the process of work independent of the inspiration, and the inspiration will come. You just have to start the process and start doing the work. So for me, that's a huge part of it. And then it always ends up coming. But as far as like a vision and what you're trying to say, I think part of it for me was throwing off the yoke of that message, because it was so heavy for so long. I felt like I had to express this idea. And, I don't think I'll ever have purely, perfectly expressed whatever it was that person I was, 20 years ago or 15 or 10 years ago was trying to say. But I know that I said a big chunk of it. So now I feel kind of freer in a way, and newer ideas are finding their way in because, some space has been made.
Interesting. That's helpful for me. I don't have so much a problem of finding inspiration. I think a kind of never ending inspiration, at least I feel now. It's more, I'll write something and I'm like, this is dope, and then I'm like, did I already kind of do this song on like the first record, or is this too much? Like, it's not like reminiscent, like people would think like, oh, you ripped off Do You Believe or something. It would be more like, oh yeah, that's kind of like a Do You Believe-esque jam. I already made one. Like, do I need a second one that's kind of inspired by that same thing? So that's where I'm like, I don't need to go. I don't want to like reinvent the wheel and make some like art for the sake of art. I want to make what I love. But then now I start kind of thinking like, oh shit, like, have I already done that? Is that new enough? So that's my struggle. But I'm not like stuck. It's just when I listen to my demos, I'm like, kind of did that here, kind of did that there, kind of that percussion groove is here. I don't know. It just feels I get scared, I guess.
I think I have like a blind spot for that. I've been accused of having, the music being kind of same. I mean, I'll hear albums and be like, this is the most different thing in the world. And they're like, oh yeah, it sounds like the last one. And you're like, God damn it. But, like, I think for me, it's always about like, like as the process is going, it's always iterative. So there's all these million versions of every song and all these tangents and offshoots. And I always will be like, oh, I remember that cool idea. Or, I have like a folder of comps and I'll be like, oh, that was like way heavier and that was going in this direction, and I never followed it down. So I'll often do that for inspiration. Like just be like, this next record is going to be about what if I had followed that path and gone where that led instead of taking a right over there and just seeing what comes out of that.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, see, I have like these ideas. I could do a whole electronic record, but then I'm like, is that tired? I even like, with Poolside, I can put the like Poolside vibe on a reggae record or something, or like reggae. Like I have lots of options that feel exciting. It's just like, what's the next one now that I've done all these? Now I've done 3 or whatever. So anyways, this is just my like therapy sesh with you. I'm taking advantage of talking with a 5-album experience over here.
Yeah, it's always tough. I mean, the last one was easy because I knew what I was going to do. I knew I wanted it to be different and I wanted to be vocal and all that stuff. But this next one is cool too because, I think once you've done something that different, it's really cool to come back and recenter and find what center is to you now, or just even go in a totally other place. But it feels refreshing to go out on a limb and go into this totally different place, and then to kind of come back home after the long journey.
Yeah, I was really impressed with your last album. I dug it, and I thought it was like risky in a way. I mean, I don't know if you saw or felt that way, but I felt like being known as like a no vocals band to go vocals was a big move, and especially live, I was really impressed. It works really well, and yeah, I appreciated your guts on that one.
Well, thanks, but it was naivete that I had no idea. Like in hindsight, it was risky, but at the time, I was just like, yeah, whatever. It's another instrument, man. Just like throwing in. I've used vocals before, like like as like a layers and stuff.
Right,
and
right.
People were like, it didn't, it was like a big. I think it was tough for a lot of people to wrap their heads around. I think it settled in over time. Some people were just stoked on it, but at the beginning, I think some, because I the same way when I was deep into electronic music, instrumental electronic music. I think I was a purist about it at one point in my life when I was younger, and you know, if one of those artists had thrown vocals on it, it might have thrown me might have seemed like a curveball, but at the time I was just like, this is just what's happening. You know, it just happened. It wasn't super intentional, I guess.
Oh, well, that's even cooler. That it was just. Well, speaking of that, what were some tracks that kind of made you want to make music? Because I've heard enough interviews where you said you didn't start making music until you were like into your 20s. Was there any like particular songs? I mean, I kind of heard you got into IDM and other stuff like that, but were there any like, this song, I fucking love that song? And
yeah. I was San Francisco, actually. USF changed. I mean, it's weird when you look back at moments like that in your life. You wonder like, if that hadn't happened, you know, this pivotal moment, would you have never found music, or would you have just found it another way? Did you have that desire in you? And it was, right. I went away to college. I met these three really cool guys, Franklin, Ben, and Alex. And they were like, especially Ben, he was like, and Alex, they both ended up being DJs, and they just had like a wall of CDs in their dorm room. And like, they were just so knowledgeable about music, and they turned me on to drum and bass, and specifically LTJ Bookham, Logical Progression 1. And there's a song on there by Photek called Pharaoh. Later, I think they changed the name to Saturn's Rings, but it was just like, I never heard anything like it. I never really even, other than like Erasure, I'd never even heard what I would consider electronic music. And it blew my mind. And then that guy, Ben, was cleaning out somebody's garage. They couldn't pay him, and they gave him a broken Alesis drum machine and sequencer. I took him to this place called Skips in Sacramento, and I was like, what are these things, and how did the guy make this song? And I had a mini disc of logical progression, the whole thing, but I played him Pharaoh. And he's like, man, I don't know what, this guy's like an amazing, what are you talking about? I can't tell you how he did it. This this is incredible. He's like, I'm pretty sure there's a drum machine and a sampler in there. I was like, oh, well, give me those. And I traded in the Alesis. I guess it was worth something. And I got a MC303, a Roland Groove box.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, that was my first thing. And then I got an ASRX, it's like a sampler, because I didn't realize what sampling was. So I thought I could do it with the MC303, and then realized quickly that you needed a sampler.
And that's where it all began.
That's where it all started.
So LTJ Bookham, some dude couldn't pay his rent, and next thing you know,
like that. It was some bullshit story, you know, whatever. He's cleaning out his garage, and the guy's like, do you know how to fix? I don't know. But anyways, I somehow ended up with an Alesis HR16 drum machine and sequencer.
And do you have any of those on old mini discs of your earliest stuff?
Yeah, I do. I have mini discs of all that stuff, and then CDRs after CDRs became prevalent. But yeah, back in those days, we had. I was the first person on campus with a mini disc recorder. So everyone, and I had the fiber optic, the Toslink cable between the CD in it. So you got there was no conversion, and it would transfer the track titles. So like, people were just like, minds blown, because they had every CD ever made, and I was like, oh, give it. We're paying forever. Just put it in here real quick. And they started getting pissed. They're like, what the hell? This is bullshit, because they're buying like $20 CDs. And I had all of them. But yeah, that was the good old days before MP3s. Right.
You were the tech pre-Napster. Was this, or was this during Napster?
You know, no, I think it was before. Yeah, because Napster was a few years later. I remember FTP, MP3s and FTP servers, you know, and like listservs and stuff. That was a thing like right around 1998. But I may have been 97, but I may have been a little bit late to that game.
Right. Yeah, I think so. In my dorms, people still had like, it wasn't super internet connected. I think maybe it was really rare someone had a dial up or something, but it was 97 though. It was like 97, 98. And then
if you went to the lab, they had T1.
Oh yeah.
So that's why we hang out in the lab all night. Like we knew the guy who ran it, and he let us just stay there overnight, and we'd use their printers, and like, we made a zine out of their printers, and like we just sit there and download MP3s all night and make bullshit zines and put them up around school.
That's awesome.
That's how I learned graphic design, actually, is because they had Photoshop on those computers, and I used them to make this zine we did.
What was the zine called?
It was called The Insurrection, and it was like super edgy, like anti-establishment, like anti-school rules. Like, why do we have to pay to go to the food court? You know, just like whatever. like the stupidest, like, yeah. And then we'd like hang them up around in all the dorm bathrooms and like raise awareness of these huge issues. And
So you were a political activist back then.
it was not political. We were just idiots. But we'd also put music in there, and we had a show on KDVS or KDNZ, which was like the small little brother to KDVS that was just in the dorms. So we had a little radio show, and we played like drum and bass and talk shit. And
Yeah.
this is good old days.
Yeah, I remember DJ Shadow was like every dorm room was just pot smoke and DJ Shadow in my dorms. Like it was just like it was, you had to be listening to DJ Shadow, and Invisible Scratch Pickles were really big in my dorms. So like, yeah, kids were going to, like, they'd have like little things at Golden Gate Park, and just everyone would be like day raving there. And yeah, it was a weird time. It was a cool, looking back, I didn't appreciate how awesome that time was for music, and just being around a scene that kind of was pretty influential in the world, that just seemed like, cool. DJs.
Yeah, San Francisco in general. I mean, that was a special time. It felt like the Wild West or something. I mean, it's always felt, that's what's cool about being out here. But I don't know. San Francisco, obviously it's changed just like everything else does. But the 90s, for some reason, seemed like a really special time, the late 90s here.
Oh, man. I loved it. I mean, like, you'd wind up at some like warehouse in Soma, and like robots would be fighting and flames would be going off, and some tech person would be like, "Oh, I bought this domain and now I'm a millionaire," and just like
pets.com.
Yeah, it was just the weirdest. Yeah, it was. I mean, I was from the suburbs of San Diego. I guess I still am, but I had just moved from them.
Yeah.
And it was just like mind blown, like every night going some, private party where you had to have a membership, like that served booze until 6 a.m. and just, I don't know, just, I was a little kid from the suburbs, like all of a sudden, and there's so much culture relative to where I was from. And yeah, it was very inspirational for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an inspiring place. I had some of the best years, and then the last 15 years there was just it was the greatest. Especially the first 10. That was like a really good run.
Yeah, what would you do? What was like a normal? What was your scene
in college or in
like in 06, like when you were living?
I mean, 06 was no scene. I got there, I was miserable and totally alone forever.
Okay.
I didn't know anybody, and I didn't, I'm not like a super social person. I just kind of keep to myself and work in my basement. And, but luckily I had my neighbors, who was actually, the reason I went out there was to work at this Adobe, or Macromedia, the software company that became Adobe. And my boss was my neighbor, and he would like take me out, and he's like, "Look, this is like what you do when you're an adult in San Francisco and you're not a kid smoking weed in the forest, or whatever." Drum and bass. But yeah, he took me out and kind of showed me what it was about, and I was just like, whoa, like there's this whole other thing going on there. And that's kind of how I learned, or it is how I learned about real DJ culture, like San Francisco DJ culture. And he took me to Burning Man for my first time, and I learned, that's where I fell back in love with electronic music and understood it outside of the context of me just in headphones in my room, and felt it, like how powerful it was when you're in a room full of people and all that. So yeah, shout out to Simon. He's the best. But he just showed me all that stuff. So yeah, we just basically go out and go to these weird Victorian houses that had turned into a bar somehow. And you're like, does someone live here? Or is it just always what it is? And then I met Rob Garza, and he was just insane. And like, I would be like, oh, this city's boring. Like, there's never anything to do here in San Francisco. And it'd be like 11 and we'd be drinking beers at a bar, and he'd be like, are you kidding? And I'm like, yeah, there's nothing to do here. And then we'd end up at like till 8 a.m. at some weird house that he would just like text someone and we'd be at some weird party. So there's always something going on.
Oh man. Yeah.
I just didn't know about it.
Yeah. Did you ever go to like Not Human's place out in like Bayshore or whatever?
No, I haven't been out there. What's that?
Oh, okay. Oh man, it was like a compound that would do raves. I forget what his record label was, but he's a pretty, I don't even like industrial like scene guy. I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments can. Not Human is his like literally. I think he legally changed his name to that. He's like, I feel like he's part of some like whatever, like not Meat Beat Manifesto, but just some like very legendary not hardcore. Industrial act, and used to have a compound out in Bayshore and would put on pretty cool pretty cool, like techno, minimal techno, experimental things. I don't know. I just seemed like the kind of shit you would be into. But
I
maybe.
didn't know anybody. I was never going to stuff like that. I was going to like Slims and just like above board shows for the most part, unless somebody dragged me to some weird thing, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
My first job in San Francisco was security guard at Slim's.
Oh, really? Whoa.
But they needed some muscle, and I'm like, guys,
Wow, there you go. You juiced
I'm
up.
like
Get the
145. No, I just checked IDs, make sure you had the right wristband to get backstage.
Oh, nice.
But I worked a private party for Prince there, which was like amazing, and a James Brown show. It was pretty cool time at Slim's. But
did they close?
Just recently, yeah.
So
maybe
sad.
not super. I don't know. Yes, somewhat recently, yes.
Man, that's a bummer. That place, yeah, I saw some classic shows there. Played some shows there. It's a good place.
What were some classic shows you saw at Slim's?
I mean, well, Deer Hunter. Deer Hunter is probably the greatest show I've ever seen, and it was the best show I've seen there for sure. But I actually played a show with who were we opening up for? Oh wait, what the hell? I saw Deer Hunter there once. That was the greatest show. But Casino versus Japan opened for Deer Hunter, and I kind of knew him through shows. We had played a few shows together, and he knew I did visuals. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll come down with my projector and my screens. And I like put up these screens, and they were like, hurry up, because we didn't have much time. And we set him up, and I'm on stage with him doing visuals, and he's playing guitar, and like the screens start like collapsing because I had to quickly like duct tape them up. It was just such a mess, and it was like I felt so bad for him, and I felt like an idiot. And so we're up there playing, and like these screens are falling apart, and everybody's like, "Where's Deer Hunter?" And of course, Casino versus Japan's like playing like this crazy like space Hawaii rock, and you're just like, "What?" It was the craziest scene, but it was probably cool if you're there.
Yeah, I know. I wish there were more documents of like what it's like to be the opening band, or
Yeah.
There's just so much chaos and so much fucked up shit, and like
go
crowds.
get up, screw your drums, get your drum. You not play the headliner's drum set. Please get off the stage.
Yeah. No, it was. Yeah, we did a little run opening for Casey Musgraves, and there was times where like big celebrities would be coming to meet Casey, and we would be like not allowed to leave our dressing room.
Yeah.
Because like in case whoever, I don't even know, Justin Bieber was like, we couldn't see him, or I don't even know. It wasn't like everyone was super cordial to us, but it was just the rules. Like it's just like you're in your dressing room while celebrities are here. You're not allowed to come. Like the riffraff needs to stay in the room.
Totally, and don't come anywhere near the stage.
Oh
like
yeah.
We opened for what's that band? They used to be called like Triangle Symbol.
I don't know.
They were just a triangle, the symbol on a keyboard that makes the triangle, whatever that key code. Alt J, because you did Alt J.
Oh right, yeah.
And they're awesome, but they just had like this mega tour, and we're on tour with them, and it was amazing. Like I learned so much watching their production. Like I think it's what inspired me to like take ours to another level, and I never got anywhere near their level, but still just seeing, I mean, they had like dudes who just sat at a computer beside their stage. I don't know what he did, but he just looked at a computer and like looked like he was a union guy or something. But they were like, get the hell away from this. Like you would walk out to the side stage to just watch the show, and there you just feel like a hand on your shoulder, like, nope. And it's like, get out of the eye line. Get out of the eye line of the artist. You're in the eye line. Like it's always something like that. And then like other artists, they're like, don't go to their green room. Don't try to say hi to them. Like they're playing, or like some sort of like crystal ceremony before every show, and it's like, all right, whatever.
No, it's I had no idea how weird it is. So yeah, hopefully there'll be a documentary, and then we can all laugh and be like, oh, that was me.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. Is there any, before we wrap it up, anybody want to ask Scott some questions, or anyone want to, Tony? You guys are taking me back. Okay. Well, if anyone has a quick question before we wrap it up, but Scott, it's been awesome hanging. I'm glad we got to do this. We're both of our live streams coming together.
Yeah, this is awesome. We crossed the streams. Never crossed the stream. Post versus post.
That's the first I've heard that. I wonder if is that a common stream lingo, or is that new?
No, I thought that's something else. That's something about Star Wars.
Ghostbusters. No, I
right. Don't cross the stream.
I knew that. I'm just saying, is someone made that play on words here? No.
Is Scott related to Chris Hansen? No, that'd be amazing. That's a good one. No, I'm not really related to any famous Hansons.
Is there a lot of, okay.
Okay. Well, there's a band called Hanson, but that's
Right.
S-O-N, which is a totally different spelling. There's Jim Henson and there's Hanson
right.
Soda,
Yeah.
and I don't know what else.
Okay, people want to know any more work with Sinner Saint.
Saint Sinner, Hannah. Yeah. We not right now. We're just I'm working
Saint
on
Sinner.
instrumental stuff, but she is working. I'm working on production stuff for her records. So she has a solo record coming out that that she's working on. So I've been working on that.
Yeah, I've heard some of her demos. They're dope. The
Really good.
surfer something.
Surf on Me. Yeah, I
Surf
worked
on
on
Me.
that song. That was it's like a kind of a parts of a song she produced. She's a really good producer. Like I had no idea, and like she sent me like demos. And I'm like, that's really amazing.
Yeah, I liked all of them were cool, and I liked like a lot of them. Where I was like, this is good. This is gonna be a good record. Is she still in Mexico City? Is that?
Yeah, she's down there. She seems to love it.
I mean, what's not to love?
Yeah, it's an amazing place. I need to spend more time there.
Yeah, it's hard not to have a good time there. Almost too hard.
So are we supposed to be trying to answer these? They're like just going by.
I don't know. There's too many. Scott, come back to
Favorite design software? I use Photoshop for everything. That's easy.
Photoshop.
Lightroom for photos. I like this. This is higher tech than mine. You can show the comments. I just read them off. Action. How long is the sunrise set going to be? Probably about 75 minutes, probably, or somewhere in there. Any advice for incoming artists submitting music to indie labels?
Don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of built my own thing up on like MySpace. Yeah, go on, put your music on MySpace. That's first. And just really get a good profile picture and like add everyone you can.
Gifts are really important.
And then you get a record label. You get a record deal. That's how it works.
Yeah, I don't really have it. I think be persistent, but don't be annoying. But most likely, when you don't need help, that's when people are going to help you. So, you got to do it pretty much on your own. That's what I would suggest. And then once you don't need it and someone can make money from helping you, there are going to be a lot of people helping you.
Yeah, nobody's gonna give you the elevator. Well, maybe some people get the elevator ride to the top, but I think you just got to grind it out, create a platform, and hope somebody notices it.
Yeah, definitely. Jeff, is Poolside staying solo? Now there is a 5-piece band, 4 others who are not me, and then I collaborate with a lot of people working on music. Just whoever I like, I just reach out and be like, let's write a song.
Panama, awesome.
So Panama has a great voice. Really like your track, Can't Stop. Scott, you should collab with Panama. That's what Silver Poncho is saying.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
I
can
like
connect you guys.
Something when I was like trying to put together vocal ideas, I emailed all these people and I got zero responses.
Seriously?
Or like not email, Instagrammed or whatever. Yeah, nobody. I don't know. No, either they don't check them or they just are like, fuck this guy.
They're like, Tycho who?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody knows.
Okay, well, we answered a lot of questions. That was like a rapid fire question round.
No, they keep coming. Grandmother is amazing. It's the best. And that's actually a matriarch, which is like the bigger version of the grandmother, and it's the greatest synth ever. I'd highly advise it if you're looking for something in the Moog domain.
Okay, we got some flowers. Are you going to raid DJ Dane after the sunrise set, Scott?
Ooh, does he have a set afterwards? I don't know. If he is, for sure. I don't know. I don't know if we can do that. The platform that we're on, I don't know if they do raids. It's not going to be on Twitch. It's going to be on No Cap.
No Cap. New platform, bro.
No Cap. You get it? No capacity. It's infinite capacity.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I guess virtually infinite because I would think there's some bandwidth limitation at some point. You couldn't have like a 5 million stream.
The whole world. Everyone with a device. Well, cool. Well, dude, that was so fun, and I'm honored you watched my disco hijinks. That's literally just me and my like records I don't get to play, just kind of having fun.
This is awesome. I love that last Well, the last song was great, and the second to last, it's all really good. I was listening to it, hanging out in the backyard before I came in, so it's a good vibe, bro. It's a vibe.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me, man. It was an honor to be here.
Yeah, well, we'll have to talk more in person one day and probably
For
play
sure,
some
you
more
got to come
shows.
friendship hour trademark.
Oh,
Trademark pending.
dude, just give me the date and time. I'll be there.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, see you, Scott. Bye,
All right,
guys.
man.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.